When the debt collector showed up at my high school, I knew something was wrong. I just didn't think it would be my own name on the paperwork. It was a regular Tuesday. I had just finished a math test I barely studied for when the office assistant knocked on the classroom door and handed my teacher a pink slip. Marcus King, main office, right away. I wasn't worried. Figured it was about a form or maybe a counselor meeting. But when I walked in, there was a guy in a dress shirt and slacks sitting in one of the plastic chairs. He stood up and smiled, way too friendly. Marcus, I'm Mr. Daniels. I'm here on behalf of Monroe Financial Recovery. He handed me an envelope. Your father's overdue accounts are now legally tied to your credit profile. We tried to contact him. No luck. You're 18 now, so I stopped listening after that. My chest tightened. My mouth went dry. I was staring at a debt notice with my name on it, and I hadn't bought anything. I didn't say anything on the bus ride home. I didn't text anyone. When I walked into the house, my dad was in the recliner, half asleep with the TV on full volume. Hey, you're home early, he mumbled. I stood in the doorway, holding the envelope. You used my name to take out a loan? He blinked, sat up, and scoffed like I was being dramatic. It's just temporary, son. I was gonna handle it. Calm down. $17,000 isn't temporary. He waved me off. You live in my house, eat my food, wear clothes I paid for. You owe me something. I just stood there, stunned. He really believed that I owed him. Not love, not respect, but debt. Looking back, I don't know why I was so surprised. My dad, Darnell King, had always been about shortcuts, get-rich-quick ideas, half-baked businesses, borrowing from friends and never paying them back. He sold TVs out the trunk of his car once. Another time, he tried to flip used sneakers and got scammed by a teenager. My mom, Tasha, worked double shifts at the hospital just to keep food in the fridge. And my little sister, Erica, was only 13, still young enough to believe that bad luck was the reason our lights got cut off. But I wasn't young anymore. I was legally an adult, and legally in debt. That night, I signed up for a free credit report site. My hands were shaking. And there it was, a payday loan from Express Cash Now, $6,500. Another from Fast Fund Lending, $3,000, a maxed-out credit card I never applied for. Total damage, $17,032. 18, all in my name, all because I turned 18 and trusted my own father. I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling until morning, then walked into the school counseling office before first period. Mr. Fulton, my guidance counselor, was kind, older, and the only adult I really trusted at that point. When I showed him the paperwork, he rubbed his forehead and said, "You're not the first kid this has happened to, Marcus." That somehow made it worse. He gave me the number for a legal aid clinic downtown and told me not to panic. "Try to keep your grades up," he said. "You've still got a shot at that community college scholarship." But all I could think about was how I'd been robbed, not by a stranger, but by my own blood. That night, my mom came home late, exhausted, scrub-stained, eyes hollow. I wanted to tell her. But I didn't. Because the truth is, she already looked like she was carrying more than she could handle. And deep down, I think she already knew something was off. She just didn't want to admit it. So I swallowed it, put the envelope in my backpack, ate my dinner in silence, and stared at my dad across the table like he was a stranger. I tried to keep it together. I showed up to school, hit my books, and told nobody what was really going on. Not even Avery, my best friend since 3rd grade, the one person who actually knew when something was off with me. She'd ask why I wasn't eating lunch or skipping out on our walks after school, and I'd just say I was busy with college stuff. It wasn't a lie. Just not the whole truth. By March, I got the news I'd been working for all year. Partial scholarship to East River Community College, enough to cover about 60% of tuition if I could qualify for a student loan to cover the rest. The problem? My credit score was shot, and because the debts were in my name, I couldn't even apply for financial aid without getting flagged. I remember staring at the FAFSA screen and just freezing. It asked me to confirm personal info, income, dependents, debt load, and I couldn't even get through it. I wanted to scream. How do you explain that your dad's choices live inside your credit report like a curse you didn't cast? One night, I sat at the kitchen table after Erica went to bed, and I finally told my mom. I showed her the credit report, the fake applications, the interest piling up. She stared at the pages, didn't cry, didn't yell. She just said, "We all have to live with your father's mistakes." That hit harder than I expected. It wasn't support. It was surrender. A week later, Uncle James came by to fix a leak under our sink. I pulled him aside. I told him everything. He didn't interrupt. He didn't ask dumb questions. Just nodded and said, "You want hours at the shop?" That was it. That man saved my life with one sentence. I started working weekends with him at the auto shop. $30 under the table every Saturday. Grease under my fingernails. Cuts on my knuckles. But for the first time in weeks, I felt like I was doing something to get out. June came fast. Somehow I scraped through finals. My teachers gave me looks like they knew something was off but didn't ask. Graduation day was sunny, humid, packed. Everyone was taking pictures. Mom's crying, Dad's chest puffing. I walked the stage, shook the principal's hand, smiled for the camera. Then I saw him. A man in a tan suit standing just past the exit gate with a folder in his hand. He walked right up to me, shook my hand like we were old friends, and said, "Marcus King, you've been served." A court summons. Debt collection hearing, set for August 14th. Total amount due, $17,032. 18 plus legal fees. My little sister was holding a balloon that said, "Congrats, grad," when she saw the paper in my hand. She didn't say anything, just looked at me with the kind of confusion that still haunts me. Because even she knew, graduation day is supposed to be a beginning, not the start of a legal battle you didn't sign up for. When I told my dad about the summons, he shrugged. "Just go tell them it was a mistake. They're not going to go after a kid." I asked him, "You going to come with me?" He laughed. "This is your name, son. You're grown now. Handle it." I stood there, stunned. Then I walked out and slammed the door so hard the mirror by the hallway shook. I picked up more hours at Uncle James's shop. I went from part-time weekend help to basically being his shadow, changing tires, wiping oil off the floor, learning the basics of engines. He didn't ask too many questions, and I didn't offer up much. He just told me, "Learn a skill, and you'll never be broke." There was something honest about the way things worked at the shop. If you stripped a bolt, it was your fault. If you fixed a leak, people thanked you. No fake promises. No debt collectors. Just work, and what you make of it. My mom kept her head down. I could tell she was torn. Tired of cleaning up after my dad. Tired of pretending things were fine for Erica's sake. Erica started noticing everything. She'd ask questions like, "Why doesn't Dad have a job? Why do you always come home angry? Are we going to end up like him?" That last one almost made me cry, because I didn't know the answer. It was a Thursday night. I came home sweaty from the shop, checked my backpack, and my emergency $80 was gone. I knew where it had been, hidden deep in the front pocket, wrapped in notebook paper. I knew who took it. I stormed into the living room, and there he was. Darnell, half asleep with the TV on again, holding an energy drink like it was a trophy. "You took my money?" He didn't deny it. "I needed gas. You live under my roof. It evens out." I snapped. "No, I'm not your damn ATM. I'm not your second chance. I'm your son, and you've been using me like a credit card you never planned to pay off." We shouted. Erica cried in the hallway. Mom begged us to stop, but I couldn't hold it in anymore. The next day, I sat down with Mr. Fulton, my guidance counselor. He looked older than usual, maybe because I finally let the weight show. "Mr. Fulton, what happens if I press charges?" He leaned back, quiet. "You'd have to prove fraud, that your father knowingly used your identity without consent." "I found the paperwork," I said. "In the garage. He forged my signature. I can match it." He nodded slowly. "It's a hard road, Marcus, but it's your right." And for once, that word didn't feel like a burden. It felt like a door I could finally walk through. Avery came with me to the legal aid office. I didn't even have to ask. She just said, "Let me know the time." She held my backpack while I gave my statement, showed my ID, handed over the forged documents. It felt like betrayal. It felt like survival. And when the woman behind the desk asked, "Are you sure you want to proceed?" I said yes. No hesitation. I told her that night. I sat her down and I told her I filed charges against Dad. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just closed her eyes, took a long breath, and said, "You're braver than I ever was." Then she went to bed. 2 weeks later, we got an eviction notice on the front door. Unpaid rent. My dad had stopped working months ago. Apparently, he wasn't paying rent either. Mom called her cousin, and we moved in with her for a while. 3 of us sleeping in one room, barely enough space to stretch. Darnell stayed behind. Didn't say goodbye, didn't apologize. He just watched us leave. Like we were the ones who abandoned him. They say freedom has a price. I learned that firsthand. Sometimes that price is your peace. Other times, it's your father. Finally, the court date arrived. The courthouse smelled like old paper and cheap coffee. I sat between my legal aid lawyer and Avery, dressed in my only button-down. Across from me was my dad, Darnell, looking tired, irritated, and completely unbothered by what was happening. He didn't even glance my way. The judge asked me to speak. I explained how my dad had used my name to take out multiple loans, how I didn't find out until I was 18 and already in debt, how my credit was ruined before I ever got to live on my own. I handed over the forged applications, my bank statements, the photo of the fake signature. I told the truth. Not with anger, not with tears, just clarity. My voice only cracked once when I said, he was supposed to protect me, not hide behind me. Darnell's defense? He said I agreed to it, that I was in on the plan, that it was all just a misunderstanding. The judge didn't buy it. Neither did anyone in the room. The judge ruled in my favor. The debts were removed from my name. My credit would be flagged for fraud and slowly repaired. Darnell was ordered to pay restitution, which we both knew he wouldn't. But that wasn't the part that mattered. What mattered was the line the judge said at the very end. Mr. King, you are no longer financially responsible for these actions, or for this man. Outside, I stood on the steps of the courthouse. Avery hugged me, and I didn't realize how tense my shoulders had been until I let them drop. I looked back one last time. Darnell was already gone. No apology. No, I'm proud of you. Just an empty chair. I started community college that fall. I couldn't afford dorms, so I stayed with Uncle James, who offered me the spare room above his garage. I worked weekends at the shop, wrote essays late into the night, and paid cash for everything. No loans, no credit cards. Just me. It was slow, gritty, and not very glamorous, but it was mine. For the first time in my life, I was building something that no one could touch. Mom eventually found a quieter hospital job with better hours. She started cooking again. Smiling a little more, Erica got her braces off, started journaling, told me one day, I'm proud of you, even if he's not. That meant more than I could explain. Months later, I wrote my dad a letter. I never mailed it. I didn't need to, but I wrote it anyway. You took my name, my credit, my trust, but you didn't take my future. You showed me exactly who I never want to become. And for that, I thank you. Freedom isn't cheap. It cost me the image of a father I'd spent my whole life clinging to, but what I got in return was myself. And that's a price I'll pay every time. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. If you want to share your stories, please comment below. Additionally, what is your opinion on the poster's decision?